We are currently 2.5 minutes from liftoff, and Falcon 9 is now moving into the final stages of the countdown. The first and second stages are both nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen. Super chilled liquid oxygen, which as I mentioned earlier is our propellant oxidizer, is what's creating those white clouds that you see around Falcon 9 when it's exposed to the warmer ambient air. You can see that on your screen there. First stage should finish prop loading, actually already has finished prop loading at T-minus 3 minutes, and second stage is coming up on finished prop loading at T-minus 2 minutes. At T-minus 60 seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup, and that means that the rocket's autonomous internal flight computers have taken over the launch countdown.
Stage 2 lock load is complete.
So with the Starlink payload continuing to be healthy, the F9 teams, Falcon 9 teams are tracking no issues on the rocket. Weather is still looking good, and the range is green for launch. So we are at T-minus 1.5 minutes from liftoff. And again, in about 30 seconds, Falcon 9 will be in startup. What this means is that the vehicle will basically be autonomously making its decision if it will continue with liftoff at T0.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
And there's that call out that Falcon 9 is in startup.
Go for launch.
And at T-minus 45 seconds, there was that call out for go for launch. Again, that was the Falcon 9 rocket making that decision autonomously. Now we are T-minus 30 seconds from liftoff of our Starlink payload tonight. So let's listen in and watch liftoff.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff!
Falcon 9 pushing down range.
We are T-plus 40 seconds into flight, and Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, carrying our Starlink payload to its targeted drop-off orbit. Moments ago, we did throttle down our engines in preparation for Max Q, and that is the maximum aerodynamic pressure, which is the largest structural load that the vehicle will see. That's coming up here in a few seconds.
Max Q.
And there's that call out that we have just passed through Max Q. In about a minute, we will have 3 events happening back to back. The first of which will be main engine cutoff, or MECO. This is where all 9 M1D engines shut off to slow the vehicle down in preparation for the second event, which is stage separation. Stage separation is where the first stage separates from the second stage, with the first stage starting to make its way back to Earth for landing, and stage 2 continuing on its journey, with the third event called SES-1, or Second Engine Start 1. And that's where the MVAC engine lights up on the second stage and propels the second stage along with the Starlink satellites to its drop-off orbit. We are at T-plus 2 minutes and 5 seconds, so we're just about 25 seconds away from those 3 events. Again, that is MECO, stage separation, and SES-1, or Second Engine Start 1.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
And there you can see on your screen, on the left screen, we had main engine cutoff and stage separation. On your right screen is the second stage MVAC engine lighting up, glowing bright red there. And it is a bit dark on the East Coast, but you can see on your left screen that first stage, those grid fins are deploying. And on your right screen, we have fairing deploy coming up here.
Separation confirmed.
And there is that confirmation of fairing deploy. Now let's see if those fairing halves can be recovered by our recovery ships, Miss Tree and Miss Chief today. Again, we won't have that live. That will happen around T plus 40 minutes. So check in with our social media accounts for updates on those fairing halves. And stage 2 still looking nominal. Again, that is what you see on your right screen. Stage 1 is making its way back.
Acquisition of signal Bermuda.
And as the first stage makes its way back to Earth, it will perform 2 burns, the first of which will be the entry burn, and that is where 3 of the 9 M1D engines reignite. And this helps slow the vehicle down as it re-enters back into the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere. And finally will be the second and final burn is the landing burn. And this is a single engine burn. That's the center E9 engine that reignites and brings the vehicle all the way down, very, very rapidly slows the vehicle down so that it can touch down and land on the drone ship. Again, we are attempting to land the first stage today on Just Read the Instructions, as our Of Course I Still Love You drone ship was occupied with our Demo 2 vehicle from over the weekend up until last night. We are at T plus 5.5 minutes. Stage 2 still looking nominal. And first stage making its way back. That first burn, that entry burn, will be coming up in about a minute from now, around T plus 6 minutes and 45 seconds. And that entry burn will last about 20 seconds long. Again, that is to slow the vehicle down as it re-enters back into the Earth's atmosphere. Stage 2 on your right screen, still on a nominal trajectory. And on your left screen, it is a little bit dark. It is nighttime on the East Coast, but we should see that screen light up with that entry burn, those 3 engines reigniting.
Stage 1 FTS has saved.
Stage 1 entry burn is started.
And there you hear that call out, as well as a visual confirmation that those engines have reignited.
Vehicle continues to follow a nominal trajectory.
And stage 1 entry burn shut down.
And confirmation that the stage 1 entry burn is complete, as well as stage 2 still looking nominal, if you heard that call out. Coming up next is the landing burn around T plus 8.5 minutes, around 8 minutes and 24 seconds. Looks like we lost that live view of the first stage coming down, but that is expected. So hopefully we can get that live view back. Right now,
Stage 1 is transonic.
Right now, what you're seeing on your left screen is the drone ship Just Read the Instructions. Followed very closely after the landing burn and landing of the first stage will be SECO 1, that is second engine cutoff, around T plus 8 minutes and 58 seconds.
Stage 1 landing burn is started.
Terminal guidance.
Landing legs have deployed.
Stage 2 FTS has saved.
And wow, as you saw coming
And
down,
JRTI, we
that
have a
first
stage 1
stage
landed.
Falcon 9.
Landing operators moving to procedure 11.100 on recovery 1 and ECF 9.
Amazing, that first stage booster has landed for the first time, for the 5th time for a Falcon 9 booster. That is amazing. We're waiting for second stage engine cutoff. What an amazing view of that first stage coming down, even though it was dark and night. But those engines lighting up the screen, watching first stage come down, was an amazing view. And we heard a call out of good orbit for second stage.
Acquisition of signal, Newfoundland.
And now that second stage is going to, now that second stage is in a good orbit, it's going to coast for a few minutes. And during this time, it will start to spin along its central axis, giving these Starlink satellites the momentum that they need to space themselves out over time after they deploy. So we will take a quick break and return back here at T plus 14 minutes.